Hi, this is Meg Lightheart from megalightheart.com. I don't know about you, but there are times when I get really ambushed by adrenaline, and I wanted to share with you two things that I do, which are maybe slightly unusual, but might be of use to you. Whether they are of use or not, I think it's important for us to plan ahead strategies, tactics to deal with that flood that takes us up to 9 or 10 and has us spinning, so that we can come down to even maybe a 6 or a 7 to be able to start making more sensible decisions. And particularly when you're dealing with mess and complexity and uncertainty, we need to not ignore the fact that that really affects our emotions. And so being able to know in advance how we're going to get out of that can be really important. Some people really make sure they go for a walk. Some people slow their breathing down. I heard someone say the other day, breathing in for 4, breathing out for 11. That rhythm felt really good for me, and that's a really long out breath. Installing that kind of breathing can be good. But here's two things that have worked for me, and I'm neurotypical. So your mileage may vary, but I'm just offering them to you as something you might want to try out. First off is something I call go wide, which is sometimes I find that adrenaline makes me a bit tunnel visioned. So if you can take your fingers and go all the way out to the side, can't do this side, but I can do that side, so that you're coming to where you can't see your fingers anymore, and then bring them back in so you can just about see them, and having your attention, that's like the edge of your peripheral vision, having your attention widen to the edges of your peripheral vision. Even that makes me breathe a bit slower sometimes, because I'm taking myself out of this very narrow focus. And then when I've got that wide focus, I also begin to see what's happening around me. And the thing that I really focus on is the things around me that are still. So I particularly I remember there was a period a few years ago where I was having some really tumultuous stuff going on in terms of money, and often I would have this surge of stuff happen. I remember it happening in the shower, and so taking my awareness out to the edges of my peripheral vision, and then being able to go, okay, now I've gone wide, what can I see? And really noticing the tiles of the shower in front of me and touching them, and realizing that the wall was steady. And it really helps me because sometimes the anxiety can make everything feel like it's swirling and in constant motion, and yet when I look to go, oh, look at the walls, even my messy clothes, looking at books, looking at the floor, and realizing, oh, those have been there for days and weeks, these walls have been here for years, and tuning into that physical sensation of stillness really helps me to realize that this is something going on inside me, rather than it's like the tumult gets translated onto the external world, and by going, hold on, what can I see, brings me into the moment, but particularly into the things that are still right now, can really help me to come down a little bit, or at least see the size of the problem. So that's the first thing, go wide. The second thing that I do when I get that ambush, which is often feels like a non-verbal thing, and it probably means that I've imagined something, and then that's triggered a chain of things, of emotional events. The second thing that I do sometimes is things to do with my body. So there's two aspects to this. One is becoming aware of the edges of my body, so the edges of my arm, the edges of my legs, and feeling again the stillness that I feel in those parts, which then helps me to identify that the emotion is going on in the central part of my body. It's almost always some swirling going on somewhere around my chest, my abdomen, my belly, and even sometimes I'm able to. You can sometimes go and identify to go, hold on, what am I actually feeling in my body? And when I identify what's going on in my body, sometimes I just go, oh, okay, what I'm really feeling in terms of physical sensation is like a buzzing in my chest, a tightening, a bit of a tightening in my belly. There's like a slight whirling sensation there. But when I literally focus on the physical sensations, sometimes it can take you out of all the like emotional echo chamber that goes on to go, oh, I'm feeling grief, I'm feeling, oh, hold on, I'm feeling terror. But when you come down to it to go, hold on, what I'm feeling is, oh, some vibrations in my body, some stirring, some tension, some bounciness. And then when I'm able to isolate that, sometimes you can realize that what's going on is also largely connected to things in terms of your internal organs. I don't know, I said those were both kind of unusual things, but being able to just come down to go, oh, I'm feeling something in my body right now, can be really helpful. So those are two things that I do to bring myself down from 9 or 10 down to being able to over a period of time. And apparently the rush of adrenaline takes about 20 minutes to go, so when it's not refueled, so allow yourself some time as well to let things settle. And I know that there's, with a lot of complexity and uncertainty in the world, sometimes those things can flood us, and as people who are making decisions about how you're going to be in the world, it's good to have some strategies in place. Thanks for listening. You probably know that I'm a coach, so if you feel like it's time you want some company in the way that you're moving through your working world, then go and have a look at my coaching offers if you like, megalightheart.com. If you have a steady income and you really like me to produce more of this kind of content, you maybe want to become a patron at patreon.com/megalightheart. And if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, subscribe, and so you can find out about the new videos. And wherever you're watching it, click like, make a comment if you like, and share it with people who you think it might be useful. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video that's also about some awareness practices.